Hi guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. We are super buzzing today because we have got Joanna Wiertrzyk on, and we've just been practicing the surname pronunciation. I think I've nailed it.
You did well. You did well.
If everyone over this side of the globe hasn't heard about her, she is going down a storm in New Zealand, so in Australia, sorry. Hyrox Pro under 24 and relay world record. She's an official Hyrox ambassador. Her Hyrox Pro time was 1 hour and 52 seconds, making her the fourth fastest woman of all time. Absolutely incredible because she's only 22. So let's see where we can go in the future. So we are absolutely buzzing to get you on. Thank you so much for getting back from work super quick so we can catch up before we go to work.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to get into this.
Oh, I know. We have been really excited for this one. I feel like your name has been popping up everywhere recently. How does it feel to know that you just went out and smashed like one of the fastest times?
Honestly, it's still so surreal. Like even just like you giving that little intro, like it just sounds like it's not even real. Like it's a bit of a dream right now. So yeah, I'm still processing it all, even though it was like 2 weeks ago that I got a time like that. So it's funny, like you guys saying that people over there are talking about me when I'm on the other side of the world. So it's absolutely crazy.
Oh, I mean, it's gone wild. And I think like for you being so young as well, knowing that there's probably so much more for you to give in this sport. Did you go into the race thinking that you could put down a time like that, or talk us through like maybe some of your training or what your thought processes have been like going into the Hyrox races?
So I actually have only done 3 races now. I my first Hyrox was in Melbourne this year, just because it was my hometown. So now I've kind of only after 2, 3 races starting to get into, mindset and going into it and having little tactics and stuff like that. But I'm still so new to the scene, to the Hyrox world. So I'm still learning as I go. But getting a time like that in Brisbane just a couple of weeks ago, I was not expecting it at all. The previous race I did, I think 2 weeks prior to that, which was Sydney, I got a 105 there. So I was hoping just for a 104, really, like nothing, too major. And then, yeah, I had good competition in Brisbane. So I think that also really pushed me across the line to go that a little bit harder. And then, yeah, just cracked about just over an hour. So I'm still, yeah, very surprised that I achieved a time like that. But I know just because I'm still so new to the sport, there's still so much in store for me to get even better times. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like to go from a 105 down to like taking like almost 5 minutes off the last race within two weeks.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 weeks between Sydney and Brisbane. So
That's mental. And like how was the courses? Were they similar or like was one of them a bit of a faster course or was it, do you know whether
I
that had
thought
anything to do with
that
it or do you think?
I thought that I liked the Brisbane course better than Sydney. I think Sydney had a few more turns in there and it
Mm.
felt like it was busier on the day. So that also would have played a good part in it. But in Brisbane, I had a bit more competition. So I even said this to my friends and stuff like that, that I went past the line in Sydney and I felt like I could have ran more and I could have ran harder. But going across the line in Brisbane, I was fully gassed and I really gave it my all. So yeah, it just shows that like, yeah, the different days you can push with different competition and yeah, different courses do play a part in your time and everything like that. But again, I'm still learning it as I go because I'm very new. So yeah.
Can we take it back a little bit and ask about like your background before Hyrox? Like what sort of training were you doing before you found Hyrox?
So I actually grew up as a national tennis player here in Australia. So that's my first original sport. Yeah, so tennis was my sport. and then did netball as well in the past couple of years, playing at a state level here.
What
So I've
position did you
always
play in
been,
netball? What position?
oh, I was a defender,
Okay.
goal defense.
Yeah,
So no one
that's
likes
like-
the defenders on court. So
Long reach, haven't you?
yeah, and I'm quite tall, so that worked in my favor. But yeah, so I've always been involved in high level sport. So always training. A tennis, you would have 2 to 3 hour matches a day, and then you would play multiple matches a day. You would train 5 to 6 times a week. Yeah, morning and night. So I've always been involved in that high performance environment, and like a lot of training, a lot of load and volume. So I'm kind of acclimatized to that sort of training. I've never trained for a Hyrox or a CrossFit style thing. But I do love running, so that also works in my favor for a Hyrox being 60% of the race is running. So yeah, that's kind of my sporting background.
Yeah, and I feel like you must have like the endurance, you know, because a lot of people I think kind of forget that Hyrox is more of an endurance sport. You know, it's pushing on the hour. It's not like a 20-minute workout. So from the tennis and the high volume like training, like your endurance is already there.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, even coming in, people are like, what? How can you run so well after, X amount of exercises and stuff like that? But because I've had that gym, that conditioning and running all throughout growing up in my past 10 to 15 years, I've kind of, built that as the years have gone on. So kind of just seamlessly went into Hyrox, not knowing it was a sport, and now I'm doing really well there.
And did you guys, sorry, Faye, go on.
No, go on.
Did you go straight in at the pro weights, or did you do an open first?
Yeah, so I'm a F45 trainer down here in Melbourne. So all the members and the other trainers said that I would be able to do the pro weights. And I thought if I bum out on the exercises and I can't do the weights, at least I can run. So that was my my philosophy behind it. But just went straight into the pro. So yeah.
And did you do a lot of I know you said you always loved running. So alongside the tennis and the netball, I mean netball's like short bursts of running, isn't it? And like both of us played a lot of netball when we were growing up. But running like a 10K, half marathon, 5K, did you ever do that kind of like distance races or anything like that outside? Has it just been running for training for your sports?
So I actually, in high school, I hated anything long distance. I never wanted to run more than 400 meters. So that was kind of where the netball really helped, because it was, very short, sharp, dynamic movements, and high intensity sprints. But as of the last year, I have absolutely loved my distance running. So I've been doing some marathons, some half marathons. Love running, just waking up and going to run 15K. So I've done a full 360 there too. So as of the past year, endurance running has been what I love.
But it sounds like you've had a super good, like without even meaning to, you've had like a really good like build up to Hyrox, haven't you? Like totally by accident, like almost.
100%. Yeah, it's like it was made for me, really.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so you said you're a trainer at F45. So I'm guessing, because F45, especially in Australia, seems to be really big on like getting involved in Hyrox. Is that where you first heard about it?
Yeah. So I only started being a coach at F45 this year. So that's kind of where I started knowing about Hyrox, because obviously everyone was signing up to it. But prior to that, I had no clue even what Hyrox was, or if it was a sport, or that you guys are so huge over on the other side of the world with Hyrox. I didn't realize there was a whole nother world to it. So just being the F45 trainer down at my studios, obviously I just got known about it and then signed up straight away, and now it's taken me to the new levels. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And what's the next race? Is it Perth?
Yeah, so I actually fly out from Melbourne to Perth tomorrow as we speak right now.
Yeah, I thought it was soon.
Yeah.
And that's your plans, just to hit that to get another good time, and then is that your hopefully 2 fast times for qualifying for the world champs? Is that the aim?
So I've actually already qualified for the majors. Just
Perfect.
because of my time in Brisbane, I did unexpectedly so well that it brought my average down into that elite 15. So I made the call the other day that I'm gonna go to Amsterdam, so that's pretty exciting.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so my race this weekend in Perth will kind of just maintain consistency, just getting that extra experience under my belt. And then, so race this weekend, home for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then fly over to Amsterdam to do the first major qualification.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, what a whirlwind.
What are you thinking about, like, because it'll be the grid format at the majors, and you obviously won't have raced that yet.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a new format until about a few days ago. So that's also very new to me on top of everything else. So
Get on
I'm really
YouTube.
excited though.
Get
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
some of the get some
As
tips.
soon as someone as soon as someone told me about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to learn this whole new thing. I jumped straight on YouTube, watched the Elite 15 race from last year, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm in for. Because I was picturing something completely different. I don't even know what I was thinking, what it was going to look like. So yeah, I really like the format though. Like, it looks really good, and I feel like it would definitely produce a faster time than what we have over here, especially the courses we've had this year in Australia. So I'm really excited to see what I can do over in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and I think, like you say, if the race in Brisbane, because you had more competition, like pushed you on, I feel like racing the Elite 15 with that grid format, like, you do know like where you are in the race, and you're doing like the burpees, and you can see next to you someone doing the burpees. So it's like it really shows where everyone is in the race to hopefully then push you on.
100%. Yeah, like obviously everyone's side by side. So I love, like, even in Brisbane, I was overtaken in the burpees because the person who was second to me was coming first. So I could see exactly how far away I was and stuff. So that made me push a little bit harder. So yeah, it'll be cool. I don't know how I'll go and stuff like that, but it'll be cool in terms of to see where I'm at in the race. Hopefully I'm not towards the end, so then it doesn't demotivate me. But yeah.
Well, I think with the times you've got going in, like, if you can take that as a, like as a heads up and a mental head start, like, you should be there. You more than qualified with faster times than some of the other girls that are in the Elite 15. So you just have to take that
Yeah,
confidence in, don't you? Also, you're the young pup
100%.
that everyone's like, oh, I've heard a lot about this girl. Like, you just got to stroll in there, play the mind games, whatever
Literally.
they say, put your shades on and
Yeah.
get into everybody else's head.
100%. I'm probably like 5 to 10 years younger than most of the girls there. So
Yeah.
I could just stroll on in being this young little naive girl
Yeah,
and
totally.
see what I can do.
All fresh faced and don't
Yeah.
really have to warm up, don't really have to stretch.
Yeah, yeah.
You've
Do
traveled
my
the
little 2-minute
furthest and
warm
you'll
up.
look the best for sure. You'll be like, oh no, super
Oh God.
exciting though. And yeah, like you say, just the start, it's race experience under your belt, isn't it? And like being able to have the opportunity to like race in the majors and like test out that format and learn from whatever happens. You learn from your experiences, don't you?
100%. And yeah, so like obviously I wanted to obviously go to Amsterdam as soon as if and when I would be able to qualify. So that's on the cards. And then thinking about doing Hong Kong later because it's a little bit closer to me, obviously a bit more Asia specific. But yeah, so that's also a good one to have under my belt, like what you said, with experience with the grid format and racing those elite girls as well. So yeah, we've got a couple exciting races on the cards just to see where I'm at with everyone, and yeah, hopefully make that Elite 15 qualification spot as well, and yeah, see how I go, really.
That's so cool. And based on the last two races and like going into this one, I'm guessing like you didn't have like, well, I mean, you just said you didn't have like crazy amounts of preparation for the Hyrox, but now have you like looked into, are you gonna get a coach? Have you got a coach? Have you changed your outlook? Like, especially if you're gonna try and be up there and do all the majors and with the other girls, like, have you decided, right, I'm gonna go like full on in on this, or what's your
Yeah,
thoughts?
so after Sydney, that's when I kind of thought, oh, I could make something out of this.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got a 105 time, and yes, people started having these little talks about me and everything. And then yeah, so after Sydney, I jumped on with a coach, James Kelly.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh
probably
yeah,
know
James.
him.
You
Yeah.
He's
you gotta have
very
James
well
Kelly if you're
known.
Australian, haven't you? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. We're very well known in the Hyrox scene. He's an absolute jet. He's unreal. So yeah, that was just after Sydney, and then I had 2 weeks to kind of prepare for Brisbane, and then that's what's just happened now. So now I've probably been with him for maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and really taken that next kind of focus to make Hyrox my be all and end all kind of thing. So I was actually still playing netball up until Sydney Hyrox. We had just finished our season. So I've kind of made the call now to stop netball and go full on with Hyrox and just see, because I have so much potential, if I actually train for the sport specifically, those movements and everything like that, and compromised running and not netball movements and running specific stuff for netball, I could, get so much more advantage out of myself for Hyrox and produce such better times and everything, especially leading into World Championships next year too.
yeah, wise decision, like for sure. I mean, I think when you throw the wall ball like 100 times, you might miss the whole netball, the netball scene, but like
Yeah.
a wall ball to a target's exactly the same.
Yeah, well, when I did my first race in Melbourne and I was doing the wall balls, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like netball, like just throwing the ball. It's just weighted.
Yeah, and I have to squat down every time, but it's still
Yeah.
similar to netball.
Yeah.
So talking about the race then and talking about the exercises, how did you find them? Do you have is the one where you're like, I really need to work on? Is the one that you're like super strong? I'm guessing like the run to the ski to the run, you're probably pretty strong on with your aerobic capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, so running is, if I could say, my favorite part of the workout is the running. Definitely my best leg in the race, because I'm really good under fatigue and producing a good pace after like a ski erg or a sled push or something like that. I'd say my most hated station is the burpees, because I'm so tall and long that it just takes so long to get on the ground and then get back up. So that's something that I'm working on, especially with James and stuff. And the ski erg, I don't like the ski erg either. So they're probably my two like less strong stations, and the stations that I just don't like as much. But yeah, I love my wall balls. I think that's just because of the netball background. But yeah.
You're like, I'm in my home now. I've got a ball. All is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Although that'll be more like a goal attack, goal shooter, wouldn't it? Because you're going for a target, like more than a goal defense. So I suppose you're not so
Yeah.
used to like hitting, like going for a
I
goal.
grew up as a shooter.
Okay.
So that's I'll always go back to shooting, but
Fair.
And then what about like the sleds and things? You feel like you're happy with like your strength? And there's been a lot of talk, I guess, in the last maybe year with, I think, some of the elite athletes maybe trying to lose a bit of muscle to get faster at running, or people trying to gain muscle to help and then not as fast as run. Like obviously you're from a maybe more, I'd say, a running background. Do you feel like you need to try and build on the strength side of things, or you're quite happy with be it where you are?
Yeah, that's definitely a goal, obviously leading towards being competitive at World Championships. My sled push is one of my strongest stations, but sled pull is something that I would want to work on, just on that strength side of things, because yeah, obviously you kind of take hand in hand, like you're either a bit more leaner and can push out the runs, or you're a bit more stronger and obviously do better at the stations. For me, I enjoy being better at the runs. So I wouldn't want to, be overly muscly or overly bulky just to shave a few seconds off the exercises, because I know I can just gain that back up in the running. And I definitely demonstrated that in Brisbane, being behind half the race and always catching up on those runs. So yeah, I feel like for me, obviously strength is always going to be that another little 1%er that I can build on, especially being tall and lean and long. But yeah, so that's definitely a focus leading into World Champs next year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? Because everyone, like, it's the same race, but everyone can race it so differently depending on what their strengths are, and like you say, whether someone's more muscly or lean for the you just have to play to what's best for you. And if that means having a race plan that means that your runs are faster than like maybe your stations, then that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, 1000%. That's what's so cool about the race too, is because you can get so many different like athlete physiques and everything, and strengths and weaknesses, but everyone has their own like goal going into the race and their own plan, and it's totally different to the person next to you. Like going in that tunnel when you start, like someone else could be running a 4:10 split, but then I could be running like a 3:45 split. So, but then they will be able to catch up to me on the station. So it's so funny just like looking at it. And you never know until literally the last final wall balls of how the race is going to go, really. Yeah.
And is that what you were running, a 3:45 split?
Yeah, it's between 3:45 and 3:50s. Yeah.
I mean, that is incredible. Yeah. I'm not even sure I could do that for like a kilometer and then break without the recovery in between. Like, that is impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive. God, I don't know where to go from there. You've just like stumped me. Oh my God, that's fast.
I know, it's so fast, isn't it? What were your first impressions of Hyrox when you went to the actual race? Were you like, because I know you said you've like obviously trained and done a lot of high level sport, but I guess tennis and netball, you don't get that like massive arena type feel, do you? Or
yeah, well, netball you would, but not to that capacity.
yeah.
I remember walking into Melbourne and even like doing the Sydney and Brisbane, my next races, I'm still just so amazed by the venue, the setup, the crowds. Like it's just so much going on inside the arena. It's so like adrenaline filling. Like I feel like it makes me race so much harder because there's just people everywhere. There's obviously the rock zones and the stations and everything like that. So it's a pretty cool experience, just one being able to race it, but just being in the venue itself. I was not expecting that when I thought of Hyrox as a first like initial sport.
And what
definitely sounds like you, I was just going to say, it definitely sounds like you like pull off the buzz of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
which is super interesting because it seems like, like you say, that really helps you, and like a competitive race helps you. So do you find like nerves, like, or your mental strength, or how do you like channel it? Because sometimes maybe people find they put too much pressure on themselves, or they know that they've got like competition, so that makes them more nervous. Like, how do you channel it so that you're like, yeah, okay, bring it on, let's go?
Well, I always grew up as a naturally competitive person. I love competition. Like I think I thrive off like having, girls with those big names, or just like the atmosphere and like having a little bit of pressure, I do thrive off. And then also I've kind of been conditioned to do that as I've grown up. So obviously like tennis matches where you'd play top level athletes and stuff like that, you kind of need to learn as you go to settle your nerves and everything, because obviously if you have too high of nerves, you won't perform at your best. Obviously you're naturally going to be nervous before a race or an event or anything like that. It would be crazy if you were just cool as a cucumber. But yeah, I go into the tunnel and I'm probably like a day before the event and an hour or so leading into the event, I don't feel anything. Like I'm just very normal towards the race. I don't really think about it. I don't really stress about it or anything. Going into the tunnel, that's when I start getting those natural butterflies and, oh, I'm about to race and everything. But I feel like once I get that first run around the track, it just completely goes and I'm just like fully locked into the race and I can just focus on what I need to do and what my goal is and what my plan is. Yeah, so I feel like that's where it kind of just like takes off. I do have those initial nerves and butterflies and everything, but I'm pretty good at settling it as soon as I get into the race because I know I can just stick to my own plan and I'll do well regardless.
Do you hear the music, or do you go into like literally tunnel vision? Are you one of those people that like, do you recognize people on the course, or are you just like, I'm in my zone?
I do recognize people here and there. Obviously, like if I'm racing someone very competitive to me and close to me, I'll recognize them. I do hear out for some of my friends that are like in the background cheering me on. But it's quite funny that you say music because I don't know if, obviously, I don't know if you've been to an Australian race, or you probably have the same over there, where you have like the DJ and the music over the loudspeakers the whole time.
Yeah.
People have actually caught me in the last 2 races singing as I'm running. So there's like a really good, there's a really good DJ that has been at the Sydney and Brisbane races, and I think he's from Red Bull, but they always have a good DJ setup and they play really good music. So people say it to me that they've seen me singing as I'm running around the course in the race. They said I shouldn't be singing as I'm going hard in a race, but I think that also settles my nerves as well.
Yeah,
So not
it's
only are you
clearly working.
I know, you're running a sub 4-minute kilometer and you're singing. Do you want to be any more annoying?
It's just like sometimes it just is really good.
I like fair. I think that's, I mean, big up to the DJ. It sounds like you need him at every race. I mean, they always do have music at every race, so you just need to get him a cheeky playlist over before you start, so he puts your favorite songs on.
I know. Well, you probably won't catch me doing that in Amsterdam, but at least for the Australian races, I will.
We're going to be looking out for it now, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, that would be so funny.
I love that. How about if you hit a wall, like sticking on the mental game? If you get to the burpees, you said you don't like them very much, or the ski. If you hit a wall and you're like, oh my God, I am dying. You're not singing, you're literally dying. What do you do to get out of that wall? What do you tell yourself, like, when you're in that hole?
I do have, obviously, I feel like everyone has those mental talks with them in themselves. Like they have in their head, they have those voices being like, I can't push harder, or just give up here and stuff like that. So I definitely do have normal thoughts about, oh, I'm gassed, or I'm really tired, or can I keep pushing and stuff. But I'm pretty good at overcoming that and just, looking at that next station ahead. Like if I'm at the burpees and like in Brisbane, I got overtaken on the burpees, I just said to myself, just keep pushing, like you'll catch up on the runs, like the run is soon. I just tell myself what the next station is and I can just kind of tailor my focus to that rather than what I'm currently in or like what I'm hating in that point. So then it gives me something else to look forward to or push to the next part of the race. And I feel like that makes me go harder and kind of wipe the negative thoughts in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. And can I ask, just for like my interest, how tall are you?
I'm 180 centimeters, so I'm just under 6 foot, around 6 foot.
That's quite tall for burping.
Similar to me, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
Same leg length, probably.
Yeah, I've just got really long. I've got long legs and a long torso, so I'm just very stretched.
Yeah.
I mean, on the ski, you must go right up to the top of the ski machine. You probably don't have to go on your toes like me, do you?
Yeah, I literally reached the top. Like I could go the handles above the ski if I really wanted to, if I went on my tippy toes.
And
Whereas
then,
I'm on my tiptoes and it's probably only halfway.
and what about your burpee technique? I mean, I'm intrigued because I say that I'm like tall for doing burpees, and I'm really not, because I'm only like 5'7", so it's like not really very tall. But do you try and jump further, or does that waste your energy?
No, I do try and jump further. I have a pretty good long jump. Not vertical, surprisingly, but long jump I do. Because we always tested that in netball. So I always hated the
Oh,
vertical
fair.
jump in netball. So
Oh yeah.
that's how I know. But yeah, no, I definitely try and make up on the jump. I do like the step up technique and
Yeah.
then like push off the jump. So I kind of save that energy there with the step up and then jump further.
Yeah, so you can try and do as least to the ground as
Yeah.
possible. Yeah, fair.
Yeah, try and wipe just a few burpees off there.
Yeah, I get you. And the burpees are horrible.
I know.
Yeah.
And then what about for anyone listening? Do you have any tips for people that are racing? Maybe now the season's kicked off again, or about to kick off here in the UK, like anything that you've taken from your last few races, whether it's to do with training for them or in the race or nutrition or any little sneaky tips?
Well, honestly, like my biggest tip and what I've learnt so far doing just a couple races and racing for the first time is honestly just to run your own race. Like there's so many people around you and obviously different ages, different age groups, but you kind of just have to go in with your plan and stick to that. And as soon as you get sidetracked and consumed about the person next to you, like you see a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of people even just watching the races after I've raced, they go way too hard at the start and just completely gas themselves just because they want to keep up with the pack at the start of the race. Like on the ski, they're just fully booking it the whole time and then they're gassed for the next run. And then by the time it gets halfway through the whole race, they just can't push any harder. So I think the main thing about if you're just doing your first Hyrox or you're just coming into your first race for the season is just focusing on your own race and your own time and your own goal, because that's when you're going to produce your best result rather than getting sucked into what everyone else is doing. Because like for me, like ski is one of my most hated exercises and it's at the start of the race. So if I completely gassed myself there, I wouldn't be as strong as my better exercises, which is later on in the race. So even if you're coming like 5th, 6th, 10th, like wherever you're coming at the start, it's not going to predict what you're going to come at the end. You kind of just need to like push through the whole race and stick to your plan. So yeah, that's my main thing going into a race, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can see that from James Kelly as well, from his racing. Like, I don't think the ski's his strongest station either. And when everyone's coming out, like he's a bit further back, but then as the race builds, like he gets into it and gets like
the back end of his race is really strong, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you can start picking people off, and sometimes mentally even that helps to be like, okay, I've taken over one person. Okay, I take over the next person.
Yeah, and like we've said this a lot in the recent weeks that a Hyrox race is more like a marathon rather than a half marathon, because a half marathon you can kind of push it out that whole time, whereas a marathon you kind of don't start the race till that 30K mark, because you kind of got to like, you can't go too hard at the start of a marathon because then you can't finish the marathon. So yeah, exactly. So you kind of got to pace yourself throughout the race. You can't just go so hard at the start. You won't have anything for the end. So that's where James does really, really well there. Like he's a very conditioned Hyrox athlete, and you can tell that he knows exactly what he's doing when he's going to that race. So he doesn't care where he's coming in the first 2 stations, because he'll just like, stick to his plan, and he ends up winning all his races anyway. So
it obviously works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And how about
and
in oh no, go on, carry on.
Oh, I was going to say it just does come with experience. Like I'm still building that experience now, so I'm still learning, but it comes as you do more races as well.
Definitely. I think even just learning more about Hyrox and learning like where you go in, when you come out, like the rock zone and like the laps
Yeah.
and just everything like that just adds up, doesn't it? You can find little like pieces of time to take your PB down just by learning the course or learning the race a little bit better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. And then I was going to say, how about you obviously hold the relay world record as well. That was the team 4 girls, the female world record. Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. We
How
did
was
that in
that?
Sydney. Yeah, that was unreal. So I actually, funny story, I wasn't actually supposed to be in that relay team. Yeah. So I actually met those girls like an hour before the event.
No way.
God.
Yeah, so I raced one of those girls one of the girls who was originally in the team, Meg, in Melbourne in my first race ever. And I bet her in that race. So I think the girl that I replaced was sick or couldn't make the event or something like that. She didn't end up coming. So Meg messaged me like a week beforehand asking if I wanted to be in the team because she was like, what better person to ask than someone that's just bet her? So
Yeah,
um
fair.
so I was like, oh, why not? Like I was racing pro that day a couple hours beforehand, but I was like, it's another fun event, let's just do it at the end of the day, and realize always at the end of the day. So it was a good one. I had a little nap after my event and then came back to the arena and
Yes.
broke a world record, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, we went into it knowing what we knew what the record was and knew
Okay.
what we needed to like beat that record. So we kind of had splits in time that we would have wanted to hit like markers for each of our runs and stations and stuff to know that we were going to beat that record. So we definitely went in with a plan to do that. Yeah.
And what 2 stations did you do?
I did the sled pull and the lunges.
Oh, okay.
You got a
Yeah,
long lunge
yeah.
on you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love the lunges. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but I love it.
Some people do. It's kind of like a hit and miss, isn't it? Some people hate it and some
Yeah.
people really like it, I think. the
Yeah, like
lunge station.
Zara
Zara
loves
Pigeon, yeah.
she's like a lunging ninja.
Oh, she
Like,
is, isn't she?
yeah. So some people love it, some people hate it, for sure.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Well,
100%.
let's move on to the cheeky insights because this will give us a good highlight as to like some of the things you love, you don't love so much, and what shoes, for example, you are racing in. So the first question and the big question over here, it's on every forum, everyone talks about it. What trainers do you use to race a Hyrox?
So this is a really good question because I'm honestly still dabbling with it all. I raced in Nike Reacts, my first race. And honestly, I'm not a shoe guru or anything like that. I honestly just race in whatever. And people think I'm a freak because I will race in just not even runners. Like I would just race in like gym shoes, and I'll find them fine. So I actually only just found out about plated runners, that you can have like carbon plated runners and all that sort of thing.
Oh
So
my God.
I,
I think you get more
yeah.
annoying as we go. It's like you don't have the like top kit. She sings when she runs. She goes, she's like, I don't do any of this. If I did all this, just imagine how fast I'm gonna be.
Oh, exactly. So everyone was like, you need to get yourself a plated shoe. I'm yet to
Yeah.
get a plated shoe, so I actually haven't. I really want to try the Puma Nitros because
Nitros.
everyone's raving about them, and obviously they're a major sponsor of Hyrox. I really want to try them, but I did in Brisbane. I raced with the Brooks Hyperions.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Brooks, the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I raced in them and they were really good. They're probably the best shoe I've raced in or ran in. But my next shoe, probably not for Perth because Perth is like 2 days away, but for Amsterdam, I'm going to get myself a plated shoe, probably a Puma Nitro. And yeah, we'll see how much faster I
And
can
you'll
run
be
there.
flying around the track. Yeah,
I know,
literally.
yeah.
Yeah,
Blimey.
people hate it when I say that I don't wear proper runners or anything like that. And they just like, why? And you can still run. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm not that all up in that
It's
stuff.
a good thing though. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it
it's
is.
a good thing. Like not that it's cheating, because it's not cheating, because everyone can wear them, like, and everyone races in them, but you're used to running without the help, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's just going to make you better. It's a good thing.
100%. Yeah, and that's what people say with like, I don't know if you guys over there do it, but like obviously gels and all that kind of those enhancers in a race essentially. Yeah, I don't do any of that. Like I'm just very like, just go there and run and do the race and then I'm done. And so everyone's like, oh my gosh, Joe, if you just did this, that, maybe just did this, maybe warmed up for more than 5 minutes, you would, actually produce a sub 60 or something like that.
I
So
know, I was like,
now,
there's your sub 1 hour.
literally. So now obviously that my focus is more Hyrox and not just doing it for fun. Like I'm actually doing it to race and be competitive. I'm going to implement all those little stuff that can maybe help me elevate that little bit more.
Yeah, I love it. So much more to give.
Yeah.
Oh God, I mean, I don't really know where to go with this. I think I'm just like, I cannot believe you're putting down these times without doing all this stuff. I've done everything. Like any little bit. How about between the two? I think you said you preferred Brisbane, but like which one has been your favourite Hyrox venue so far?
Oh, probably I'll say Brisbane. I don't know if that's just because I got such a good time, but also the race was just like phenomenal. Like the way they set it up, how smoothly the race ran, and even just having that extra competition. I had Lauren Griffith behind me. She came in from the USA to race and everything like that. So she was about 10 wall balls after me when I had crossed the line. So it was like a 20-second difference. So like even that, like racing a bit more, that higher level, I feel like that's what made the Brisbane Hyrox so much better. And knowing what I'll be up against, and I'll be one of those girls soon and stuff like that people will look up to. So that I feel like that kind of all solidified my kind of eliteness experience in like Hyrox, and like really justified why I can push hard and why I can make this like my sport. So I feel like Brisbane definitely tops it all.
And while you were doing your wobbles, did you just like tell Lauren a sneaky, I haven't got carbon plates in my shoes and I don't take gels? Just FYI. Yeah, did you try and get in anyone's head? Because I feel like
I'm only 22, by the way.
And they only warmed up for 5 minutes.
Oh, look, no, I was quite stressed doing those wobbles. I got so many no reps in that. I could have finished so much earlier,
isn't it?
but I got so many no reps that I was actually like to myself, oh my gosh, just finish this race, come on. And then you can tell her that all afterwards.
Oh man, no, I'm only joking. I'm joking. If you could, have you done a doubles Hyrox yet? I'm guessing you haven't done a doubles, have you?
No, you missed one. What's your favorite Hyrox station?
Oh, sorry, I'm not very good at these. Usually does them.
Favorite Hyrox station? I think the warballs or the lunges. If runs aren't allowed to be a station, then warballs or lunges.
Yeah, no runs. That's cheating. That's not a station.
We all know she loves the running, even more so when she gets her carbon shoes. So have you done a doubles? You haven't done a doubles. You've done a relay and you've done singles. Have you done a doubles?
So I did just for fun in Melbourne, my first event. So Melbourne was a 2-day event. So
I'm literally cracking up. This is just so funny. Go on, carry on.
So I did the women's pro on the Saturday for my first Hyrox ever. And then the next day was obviously day 2 of Melbourne. I did the women's open that morning, and then I did a mixed doubles that night. So way to kick
literally, you're
myself
putting everyone to
Hyrox.
shame. It's like everyone's gonna have switched off by now. They're like
they're gonna be like, I don't want to listen to this girl.
It's incredible. So how did you find the doubles? Yeah, good.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. So there's another Melbourne Hyrox at the end of this year, and I said that I'll do a doubles. I haven't like confirmed it or anything, but like I said that I will do another doubles because that was just so fun. I feel like if you're just starting Hyrox, I feel like that's where you should start because it's just like good fun. Obviously, if you're doing it with a friend, I did a mixed doubles, so that was really, really good. Yeah, I feel like yeah, it was so good. And you can have that little bit extra rest. So why not?
Yeah, and work together. You're not like on your own, or you can keep each other going.
Yeah.
So if you could do a doubles Hyrox with anyone, dead, alive, celebrity, it could be anyone, who would you
Oh,
choose to do it
celebrity.
with?
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. That's a really hard one.
Put you
Because
on the
then I
spot
would
now.
go, yeah, I would go for like an Olympian runner because, yeah, but then also a celebrity, like, would I want to do it with like someone that's really good looking? But then they wouldn't be very good at the race. So it's like,
You could
but
do it
then
with
would I
someone that
want to do it
sings,
with,
and then you could have a little like,
yeah,
sing around the runs.
yeah, literally a
Or you should do
DJ.
it with someone like Keely Hodgkinson, who said that the other day, because like your splits would be wild, and she's just got the golden
Or Jess Tren, is she not
Oh,
the
yeah.
Aussie runner?
marathon runner.
Who's just
Oh, yeah.
had a baby?
Yeah, she had a
Or
couple of kids, hasn't
babies.
she?
Yeah, and she's still
Yeah.
like flying around. How?
Oh, unreal.
So you need
Unreal.
an a good-looking Olympian that sings, basically, is who you want to
Yeah.
do your.
Or like a really elite Hyroxer. That would be cool. Just to
James Kelly?
like, yeah, a mixed doubles with Jay. Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
gonna get
Put
in
it out
touch
there
with
now.
him. I will be messaging him straight
Yeah,
after
there you
this.
go. You'd be like, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the next one I feel like you've answered already, because it was, do you fuel for Hyrox, and if so, when do you take it? But you said you don't take any fuel during the race, do you?
No, so I didn't even know that you probably should take fuel during the race. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's very individual. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
people thrive off different things. Obviously, I don't know if you probably do have it over there, but we have like the hydration stations inside the rock zone. Yeah, I don't take any of the waters or any like of the whatever sports drinks they have there just because I don't want it to slow down my time. But yeah, I don't take a gel. I probably will look eventually to implement that just to even as a trial to see how it goes, even halfway through the race. Because I know like half an hour into exercise, like that's where that really, kicks it off and helps you performance wise. So yeah, no, nutrition wise, I don't take anything enhancing during the race or anything like that. Before the race, I love at least some berries. I love some berries before my race. But yeah, that's about it.
Fair,
I'm very simple.
Yeah. But then for the elite races, they've got a table, don't they? I think. So like that also might be another option for you because you can put something that you actually want as opposed to like the water or the sports drink so I guess maybe that might actually help in that sense if you find something that works for you.
Yeah, and I'm sure like obviously leading into maybe not Amsterdam because it's just around the corner, but like into those next races and majors and world champs, I'll definitely be trialing obviously in races and simulations and trainings what works best for me in terms of what can help me essentially produce a better time and make me more competitive. So it's really exciting because obviously there's so much that I can implement that can help my performance.
Oh, definitely, for sure. So what about your favorite training session? Do you have a favorite style of training session? Like it can be your runs, it could be, like a compromise run session, it could be a strength session. Like what's your favorite session you do each week?
That's a great question. I've actually never gotten that question before. I love my running. I don't like the compromised running. I really, really hate that because it's really hard. So
Makes your legs feel like,
yeah. So like very heavy legs. I love like my long runs, and like interval speed runs, like sessions. But I do love obviously now training more towards Hyrox and actually training for the sport. I love like the AMRAPs and kind of
Yeah.
the functional station exercises. So like, yeah, your 15-minute AMRAPs with like the ski and a push press or some kettlebell swings or the wall balls in there. So I love that style of training, that kind of hybrid style of training. So yeah, that's probably my favorite type of workout.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I feel like, yeah, it fits super well for Hyrox and leading into the race if you enjoy that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I know
100%.
we've kind of touched on like Hyroxes and people doing their first one, but if someone's listening to this right now and they've never done a Hyrox, and obviously like you said in Australia it's coming back to Melbourne in December, why should they sign up? Why should they, you know, give it a go? If someone's sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not ready, but really should they just go and sign up? What's your advice to them?
100%. I didn't think I was ready. I didn't even think I would be able to
Of course
push
you didn't.
the 150 kilo sled. So honestly, like I think just go out and give it a crack. And even if you don't want to do the pro event, you can do the open, which is a bit lighter, or you can do doubles, or you can do relay. So there's so many different options out there. And honestly, just watching like the events here in Australia, you have people racing from my age, 22 to 72. Like there's people all different ages across the course. So you don't need to essentially go out and produce a sub 60 time. Like you'll never regret doing a race. You might question why you're doing it inside the race because it's really hard. But after you do the race, you'll feel so good. So, and it's honestly so much fun. The atmosphere is so good in the events. So you don't always have to go out to, you know, be the elites, but you can definitely work your way up to that if that's your goal in mind. So I reckon if, yeah, you're just starting out Hyrox or you see it and you think it's so much fun, just definitely give it a go. I think just have some fun with it, give it a go. And if you don't want to do it solo, grab a friend and try with a friend first and then do a singles event after. I have so many friends that are now just going into doubles and then they're going to see how they go and they're going to do a singles afterwards just because they're not confident with their first time round. And it's good to like get a scope of the race and how the format works and essentially how the whole sport works, even just doing a doubles first. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
And then final question on our cheeky insights. If you could have somebody on our podcast that you'd want to listen to, whether it's a type of person, whether it's an actual individual that you've seen in Hyrox, is there anyone you think we should get onto our podcast? Anyone you'd like to listen to?
Oh, have you had Megan
Jacoby? Yeah, we did have
Yeah.
Megan like after she got her
After the world champs, yeah.
Oh,
Which
well,
is
I need to
incredible.
go back and listen to that because
Yeah.
I've obviously I still don't know all the names for Hyrox.
Yeah,
like I don't know all the
just
big
getting
names or
into it.
anything. So
I tell you what we
I'm
should
still
do.
learning.
We'll get you into like a couple of majors, and then we'll get you back on when you're a bit more of an expert. We'll catch up and see like maybe if you're wearing carbon plated shoes, maybe if you're taking a gel,
and all the updates.
Yeah, and then we'll get an update, and then we'll ask you then like who you might want to see on the podcast, and we'll see how you've got on like getting your teeth into running on a grid style format.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely something that we need to plan because I'll have a lot of updates.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I think we
with all
definitely
this
need to do another one. This can be like the
nutrition
start, and then we're like, right, let's go back to it. What do we do now? I think everyone will be buzzing to hear, won't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I definitely can't answer that question because I only know about probably 10 names. So yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to it, but I think it's a good start that we've managed to get you on it. And I think what's so nice is that we've managed to get you on the podcast at like right at the start of your journey. And I think often that doesn't happen. Like the sport's been growing, and obviously we didn't start the podcast at the beginning of the year, and a lot of people we've spoken to have been in it like since the beginning, or they've been in it a few years. So it's so refreshing to listen to somebody that's come in like just from nowhere, that you know you've still got so much you can improve on, you've still got so much you could add to your race, that you know you can take that 52 seconds off and go sub an hour. Like I just, to be honest, I'm pretty mind blown. I just think it's super exciting.
Yeah,
is.
it's so exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like being just talking to people and obviously, yeah, talking about all these little tips and tricks and trainings and all that sort of thing. It makes me so excited because obviously this is so surreal. Like what I said at the start of the podcast, it's so surreal that this is all happening and that there's so much scope for more potential to grow and yeah, get better and everything like that. Obviously, I'm so new and I'm so young. So I just obviously it makes me that much more motivated to really give it a red hot crack because yeah, I honestly have nothing to lose at this point in time. So
yeah, totally.
yeah,
And
it's pretty
take it
cool.
all in, enjoy it all, take all the opportunities and yeah, like I guess remember to try and soak it up as much as you can. I know sometimes it's hard when you go to the races or you're in Amsterdam, but like what you're doing is incredible and like you deserve all of it, and you're very humble and modest at your flying around fast running paces, and yeah, like we are like super inspired. It spurs us on to keep training, so well done.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it means so, so much. It's honestly, even just talking to you guys on the other side of the world with your accents and everything, like it's just so cool, honestly, that like, yeah, being like over here in Melbourne, that I can inspire people on the other side of the world, or even just connect with people on the other side of the world. Like the people I've been talking to over the past few weeks has just been like absolutely surreal. So cool just to have it a part of my journey, and yeah, it's awesome. So cool.
Oh, that's amazing. And so, Jo, where can everyone find you? So after this, I think everyone's going to be like trying to follow you to see what your journey's going to be next, and if you're singing around the Amsterdam course. So where can everyone find you and follow you?
So just on my Instagram, just Joanna Wiertrzyk. We might have to put that in the show notes.
Yeah,
or
I'll
something
link it in the show notes for
spell
everyone.
out
Definitely.
spell out my last name, unless you want me to verbally spell it out now. But
no, it's all right. We'll put it in the show notes, and we'll link it when we put the episode up on Instagram. Perfect.
Yeah, so just my Instagram. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's really so overwhelmed. Thank you.
We absolutely appreciate your time. Thanks for giving us the time, and thanks for coming on the podcast. Everyone that's listening, we hope you've enjoyed this episode and it's motivated you. And if you aren't wearing carbon shoes either, go and get yourself a pair of carbon plated shoes. Otherwise, please share this. Let's give Joanna a bit of support, especially going into the majors. And we're really excited to see how your season goes. Hopefully we'll catch up with you at Hyrox race. And until the next episode, thank you very much for listening.